All right, let's get right into it. We've all been hearing the buzz, the hype around AI in the workplace. But what's the actual game plan here? Today, we're going to decode the new strategy that's shifting AI from just being a cool new tool to becoming a real core part of the team. This isn't about writing better prompts. This is about a whole new playbook for how business gets done.
So I want to start with a number that's a real wake-up call for any business leader out there, 81%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's a huge majority. But what is it that 81% of leaders are feeling?
And here's what it is. 81% of small and medium business leaders are saying that this year is the year. It's a pivotal moment to completely rethink their strategy and how they operate. So, this isn't just some passing trend. This is a real, intense pressure point telling us that the old way of doing things just isn't going to cut it anymore.
And that leads us right to the heart of the problem. It's something that pretty much every business is grappling with, whether they've put a name to it or not. It's called the human capacity gap.
Here's the bottom line. We've pretty much hit a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a workday, and human productivity, well, it can only stretch so far. This creates this incredible tension, right? Between the constant demand for more growth and the simple reality of what our teams can physically and mentally deliver.
And on one side of that tension, you've got leadership. You've got 53% of small and medium business leaders saying, we have to increase productivity. It's not a suggestion, it's a must. The pressure from the top is clear. We need more and we need it faster. But what about the folks actually doing the work? Well, that's the other side of the coin. A massive 80% of employees say they just don't have the time or the energy to get all their work done. So you see the problem, right? Leaders are pushing the accelerator, but the team is already running on fumes. That gap between demand and capacity, that is where the old model just completely falls apart. So the big question is, how do you possibly bridge that gap? Well, you do it by bringing in a completely new type of labor. And I'm not just talking about another piece of software you have to learn. We're talking about the rise of digital colleagues. And at the heart of this new workforce is something called an AI agent. So what is it, really? Well, think of it like this. It's a software program that works for you, on your behalf, to get things done and reach a specific goal. It's less like a calculator you punch numbers into, and way more like a dedicated, focused assistant who never gets tired.
Now, this is a really important distinction. Most of us are familiar with generative AI, right? Think ChatGPT. You give it an explicit instruction, it creates some new content for you. But agentic AI, that's a whole different ballgame. It doesn't just respond, it acts. It can reason, it can plan, and it can figure out what to do next all on its own to reach a goal. It's a proactive partner, not just a reactive tool.
Making this shift, well, it's not like flipping a switch. It's a journey. The source material calls this path the journey to the frontier firm, and it lays out this really clear three-phase transformation that basically any business can follow. And this just lays out the roadmap perfectly. It all starts with Phase 1, Human with Assistant. This is where everyone on the team gets an AI assistant to help them work a little better, a little faster. Then you graduate to Phase 2, Human-led Agents. Now, these digital colleagues are joining the team to take on specific, delegated tasks. And finally, you get to Phase 3, the real game changer, Human-led Agent-operated. This is where we, the humans, set the high-level strategy, and the agents go and run entire business processes for us. It's a really powerful step-by-step evolution.
Okay, so that's the theory. Theory's great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at how this transformation is already delivering some serious value out in the wild.
And we're not talking about small change here. These big companies are seeing immediate, tangible results. At Lumen, sellers are getting back an average of 4 hours a week. At Vodafone, it's 3 hours. And at Teladoc, employees are saving up to 5 hours every single week. That's half a workday. That's a massive boost to that human capacity we were just talking about.
But it's not just for the corporate giants. Check out this awesome example from Black Shuck Distillery. They built a special agent that delivers 24/7 customer service. It answers questions, gives out cocktail recipes, all within seconds. This is a perfect example of how agent tech can level the playing field, letting even smaller businesses offer that kind of sophisticated, always-on service.
Now, this all sounds fantastic. Maybe a little too fantastic? There's a big question just hanging in the air, right? As AI gets more and more powerful, more autonomous, what about the risks?
And that brings us to an absolutely critical part of this new playbook, securing the AI revolution. I mean it, this can't be an afterthought. It has to be baked into your strategy from day one.
And the concerns people have are crystal clear. The number one worry, for a staggering 82% of leaders, is sensitive data leaking out. Right behind that, you've got 73% worried about inaccurate AI results or hallucinations. And these are real, totally valid fears that have to be addressed head-on. And then there's this hidden threat, something called shadow AI. This is what happens when your employees, just trying to be productive, start using unapproved, unsecure AI tools. And this number is, well, it's kind of shocking. 89% of them admit they would bypass cybersecurity rules just to get their job done. That right there is why having a formal, secure AI strategy is absolutely non-negotiable. So the only way to move forward is to build this on a foundation of trust. And that means a few key principles are non-negotiable. First, you control your data. Period. Second, your data is never used to train those big public models. And third, you have to be protected from the security and copyright risks that come with this new tech. So if you take just one thing away from all of this today, let it be this. We have got to stop thinking about AI as just another app or another tool. It is a fundamental shift, a deep structural change in how businesses operate, how they innovate, and ultimately how they're going to compete. And that leaves us with one final big idea to chew on. As we head towards this future of agent-operated businesses, the conversation always seems to drift towards what we as humans might lose. But what if that's completely the wrong question? What if the real question, the much more exciting one, isn't what's left for us to do, but with all this newfound capacity, what incredible new possibilities can we finally create?